question. A retailer uses the last in first out inventory valuation system. Movements of item M for February as follows. So colleagues, this topic is under inventory valuation. All right, the purpose of doing this is what to find the number one, the value of the closing inventory. That is number one. You want to find the value of the closing inventory. Number two, you want to find the cost of the goods that have been sold. Okay, so you want to find cost of goods sold and you want to find the value of closing inventory. All right, these are the two things we want to find. Okay, so they told us 1st February our opening balance, we had 230 units. So here on our balance section, quantity 230 units, valued at 7 kwacha 8 ingwe each unit, 7.8. So the total value of our opening inventory, you're going to say 230 multiplied by 7.8, 1734. Okay, so now we're going to go through these transactions here. Okay, and with last in first out, colleagues, the goods that came in last, whenever you're making a sale or an issue, they're the goods that are going to come out first. Okay, the goods that came in last will be the first to be sold or issued out. Okay, the goods that came in last, yeah. So here it was 1st February or to okay, 3rd February all right, we purchased. Receipts just means purchases. Okay, we purchased 430 units. So under purchases, under the purchases section here, you put 430 units. units valued at 7.95 kwacha. The total value 430 multiplied by 7.95, you get 3,418.15. So colleagues, every time there is a purchase, okay, this is where you separate the units. Okay, every time there is a receipt or a purchase, this is where you separate the units. Okay, and this is what I mean, separate the units. Initially we had 230 units valued at 1,794. Then we have brought in 430 units valued at 7.95. Okay, so you separate so that whenever you make a sale, you know where to remove from. Okay, colleagues, so every time there is a purchase, just remember, each time a purchase or an issue is done, that's where you're going to separate the units, like how I've separated here. There's the opening inventory and there's the new batch that has come in. Okay, any questions? If I move further. Okay, Next transaction, 8th February, we issued out units. So this is where, so whenever there is an issue, this is where the last in first out applies. Okay, so February 8th we issued out 370 units. So when you're issuing out, remember you're issuing out these goods at how much you bought them for. Never make a mistake to issue them out at how much they are selling for. You issue them out at how much they were bought for. So we'll come to our these batches here, and we're going to say which batch came in last. It was these 430 units. So we're going to remove 370 units from this batch here, this batch of 430, because it's the one that came in last. Okay, so we're going to issue out 370 units valued at 7.95 kwacha. $2,941.5. Okay, we remove them from these 430 units. So we now focus on our balance. How many goods have we remained with? We still have these 230 goods valued at 1,794. Now we removed 370 units from these 430 units. Okay, so you're going to say 430 minus 370. So we've got 60 valued at 7.95 kwacha. Any questions?
Boss, just can you run through that one again? How come why are we subtracting from the balances? Why are we going back to the issues? Maybe that's why I missed it.
Wait, ask that question again.
Why are we reducing why are we making the reduction from the issues, not the balances? Because I'm seeing when you are reducing the quantities, you went to 370.
And I
removed.
Yes, we removed these 370 units from these 430 units. That's why we remained with 60 here.
Yeah, so my question is, why are we just reducing from the actual, from the balance column? Why are we not reducing from the balance column? That's why I got it mixed up.
We've reduced, sir, here. Here it's now 60. Remember, it was first 430. Now it's 60. We got from the last goods that came in, these 430, these last goods, we got 370 from them. That's why we've remained with 60. So we've reduced from the balance column, sir. Because if we never reduced, it would have still stayed 430 at 7.95.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. You always, once you separate and then there is an issue, you're just going to say, okay, which came last? Excuse me, which ones came last? And it was these 430 units. So we take out from them. That's why now we remain with 60 of them. Okay, we remain 60 of them. Value that same amount. Hope that's made it clear, sir. Any other questions? Okay, we have another issue here. Okay, on 14th February, we issued 110 units. Okay, we issued 110 units. So again, the same process happens. We're going to see which batch came in last. It's still these 60 units. So we're going to remove, since it's 110 units that have been issued, so the first 60 units will be removed from the latest batch. Okay, the first 60 units will be removed from the latest batch. Okay, so you're going to say 60 units valued at 7.95. Then we've got a remainder of 50 units, right, colleagues? Because remember, we've issued out 110. So the first 60 come out from the last batch. Then the remaining 50 are going to be removed from this first batch here. Okay, so we're going to say 50 valued at 7.8. Okay, so 60 plus 50, a total of 110 issued. So how much do we remain with now? Since we removed 50 from this 230, we're going to say 230 minus 50. We remained with 180 units valued at 7.8 kwacha. Any questions? Okay. Remember, we've issued out 110 units. So since it's last in, first out, you get from the first batch below. You remove everything. Then the remaining 50 units, you're going to remove from these 230 units. That's how you remain with 180 units. Any questions? Okay, then the last transaction, 22nd February, there was receipts, 22nd February. We bought 400 goods worth 8.01 kwacha, total value 400 multiplied by 8.01, 3,204. Okay, and as I said, whenever there's a purchase, this is where you separate the units. Okay, so initially we had 880 units valued at 7.8. Now we brought in 400 units valued at 8.01. 400 multiplied by 8.01, 3,204. All right. So what is the value of the closing inventory at the end of February? So the value of the closing inventory you just add 1404 plus 3204. So the value of our closing inventory is 4608 kwacha. That is the value of the closing inventory. That's the one which you find on a financial statement. Under additional information, you see closing inventory is valued at this amount. This is where it comes from. Okay, as we said, inventory valuation, the purpose of this is to find the value of the closing inventory. Okay, that is part A. Any questions? Part B. Assuming all items of M were sold for 14 kwacha each, calculate the gross profit achieved on item M during the month of February. Okay, so remember, gross profit is sales minus cost of goods sold. Okay, so our value of cost of goods sold, we get it from here under the issues. The cost of goods sold, you're just going to add 2941.5 plus 477 plus 390, you get 3808.5. that is the value of the cost of goods sold. Sales, for our sales, you say, okay, how many units were sold? 370 plus 60 plus 50, 408 units were sold in total, valued at 14 kwacha. 480 times 14 kwacha, you get 6,720. Okay, just sort up the number of total units issued out and multiply it by the selling price. So our gross profit, 6,720, sales minus cost of goods sold, 3,808.5, 808.5. Okay, let me put this on a Word so that when you're studying, you don't 6,720 minus 2008.5, we get this. We get 2,911.5. Any questions?